Michigan moves on from a guy, JJ McCarthy, who I assume when you evaluate guys like that, who are these fringe type of 5-star, high 4-star type of guys, that's a lot easier of an evaluation to do than maybe, when you have a battle full of guys who, one guy, Davis Warren, was a former walk-on. Jack Tuttle has been in college for 7 years. Alex Orji, I think, was a 3-star guy, but came out of high school as an athlete, and we didn't really know what he was going to be. So, in terms of this Michigan football quarterback battle, and maybe more so even honing in on Alex Orji, what do you make of the guys in that room and some of the evaluations you did on them in the past?
Yeah, it's an interesting group, like you said. Yeah, I think starting off with Orji, I had to go back and check because it's been several years. We had him as a 4-star athlete, and I think part of that was we felt really good about the physical ability. I mean, as Michigan fans know, he's got kind of a great combination of size and athleticism. I think he's 6'2", 220 coming out. And you go back and watch him on film and just watch him in the camp setting back then. And he wasn't skimping in the weight room in high school. So you can kind of he's continued to only get better in that regard at Michigan. So I think he's a physical specimen in that regard. But he got better and better as his high school career went on. As a senior, he was a 2,000-yard passer, 1,000-yard rusher, and I think looking at him as a quarterback prospect, because we were really kind of viewing him as an athlete at the time. Because like you said, I think everybody was kind of trying to kind of figure out what he was. But I think when you look at him as a quarterback, if you have a offense that's really tailored to his strengths, I think he's a potential X factor. So I think just watching him continue to improve as a senior at Sac City in Texas, I think that was very encouraging, and that was part of why we went with him as a 4-star, along with just the physical ability. And I think when you look at how he potentially fits into Michigan's offense and kind of the way the team is constructed, how he complements their personnel packages, how he complements Donovan Edwards in the backfield, and then just the favorable box numbers he can dictate. I think it's not a stretch to say a guy like him, just with his skill set, kind of makes him a little bit different than the rest of the guys in the room. So, going back and watching him, I think just in high school and then kind of seeing what he was able to do this year, I think he kind of fits the kind of ball that Michigan wants to play, and really how their roster is constructed, with really kind of being a right now kind of a line of scrimmage heavy personnel type of roster with their tight end room, how they can run the ball. And I think as they continue to add skill pieces, receivers, I think that looks to kind of be a point of emphasis for Michigan on the recruiting trail. But I think when you look at this team in 2024, I think Orji's skill set really matches up well with kind of what they need.
A lot of fans, when they talk about Alex Orji, you saw a guy that Michigan fans are hoping he could be when they played the Rose Bowl last year against Jalen Milroe. I guess, what are the similarities? What are the differences between those two types of guys?
Yeah, I think that's if you're a Michigan fan, that's kind of what you're hoping for here. And I had written down my notes, I think Jalen Milroe is really that. I think that's a great example. And I think the similarity between those two is they're not at complete one-to-one comparisons. But I think Milroe was probably a little further along as a passer at the same stage as Orji, but not worlds apart. They're on the similar spectrum. But I think when you look at their rushing ability, raises the floor and will allow them to get on the field and play efficiently, play behind a great defense, which I think Michigan certainly has. And so Michigan's not going to be in a lot of situations where they're going to have to score fast. Like this, kind of like Alabama, they weren't always going to have to score fast. So if you tailor the offense to his strengths early on and let him get his feet wet, just in terms of experience, in-game experience, I think you could see a similar growth path like you saw with Milroe. Once Alabama kind of tweaked their offense to really fit Milroe's skill set, kind of coming out of that USF game last year, you saw him get better and better as the season went on. So I think if you're a Michigan fan, that would be the hope for Orji if he gets the nod.